You ever hear about a place so creepy, it almost pulls you in? Like, no matter how many warnings people give you, or how many bad stories you hear about it, something inside you just says, let's go check it out? That's exactly what happened to me and my two friends, Lisa and Kenji. We were just backpacking across Japan, hopping from city to city, taking night buses, eating cheap ramen, and making random plans every day. No itinerary, just vibes. We had already been to Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. We even stayed in a tiny mountain village for a couple of nights, away from the crowds. It was one of those trips where you feel free, like the world is opening up. Until one night, everything changed. We were sitting in a hostel lounge in Kawaguchiko, not far from Mount Fuji. There were a few other travelers around, chatting, drinking, playing cards. The vibe was chill. Outside, the wind was picking up, brushing against the windows, and the clouds were starting to cover the stars. You could feel something shifting, though we didn't know it yet. Kenji was scrolling on his phone, half laughing to himself. Hey, he said, turning to us. Did you know we're right next to one of the most haunted places in Japan? Lisa looked up from her notebook. She liked to journal everything. What? Like a shrine or something? Kenji shook his head. Nah, forest. It's called Aokigahara. I blinked. Wait, isn't that the one they call the suicide forest? Yep, Kenji replied, eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement. People say it's cursed, full of spirits. People go in and never come back out. Lisa snorted. Come on, that's just internet talk. Is it, though? Kenji said, leaning in like he was telling a ghost story around a campfire. You should see the stuff online. People hear whispers, see shadows. Some even say the forest tries to trick you into staying forever. I wasn't sure if he was messing around or being serious, but something about the way he said it gave me chills. We all went quiet for a bit. The sound of the wind outside got louder. Someone nearby dropped a glass. It shattered and everyone turned for a second, then went back to what they were doing. Kenji kept scrolling, then held up his phone to show us a photo. It was an aerial shot of the forest. From above, it looked like a sea of trees, dense, deep green, almost black. You couldn't even see the ground. Just endless, tangled branches and shadows. It's huge, he said, like 30 square kilometers. And guess what? Compasses and phones don't work properly in there because of the magnetic iron in the volcanic soil. People get lost all the time. Lisa frowned, now looking a bit uneasy. Okay, now that's creepy. Exactly, Kenji grinned. So, let's go. I laughed. You're joking. No, really, just for a quick visit. We won't go far in. Just check it out. Take some pictures. Feel the spooky vibes. Lisa looked at me, waiting for my reaction. I hesitated. Honestly, a part of me was curious. There was something about the forest that felt unreal, like a story you read in a horror book that somehow existed in real life. I mean, I said slowly, if we just stay on the main trail. Lisa sighed, then smiled. You guys are ridiculous, but fine, let's do it. Tomorrow? And just like that, it was decided. That night, I couldn't sleep well. I kept thinking about the forest. Not just because of the ghost stories, but because of the silence people talked about. The way sound gets swallowed up. The way people feel watched even when they're alone. I wasn't usually someone who believed in the supernatural, but something about Aokigahara, it felt different. The next morning, we packed light. Just water, snacks, flashlights, and portable phone chargers. Lisa even brought a compass just in case. Kenji, of course, brought his GoPro, all excited to vlog the whole thing like it was some kind of dark tourist adventure. We caught a local bus from Kawaguchiko to the edge of the forest. The ride was quiet. No one else on the bus spoke. A few locals got off before us. And when we finally reached the stop near the forest entrance, it was just us, standing on a lonely road surrounded by trees. There was a sign nearby, a big wooden one, with messages in Japanese and English. One of them read, "Please reconsider. Your life is precious." Another one said, "Think of your family. Talk to someone before making a decision." Lisa read the signs out loud, her voice quieter than usual. I didn't realize how serious this place was. Kenji's expression turned a little more sober. Yeah, I guess I didn't either. We stood there for a moment, unsure if we should actually go through with it. But then a couple of tourists came by, an older couple with walking sticks. They nodded at us, smiled politely, and walked down the trail like it was any other hiking route. That somehow made it feel less scary. "See," Kenji said, "people hike here all the time." So we followed. The trail started out clear and wide, like any other nature path. Trees stood tall on either side, branches arching overhead like a tunnel. At first, there were signs, markers, even ropes along the way to guide you. But as we walked deeper, the forest began to change. The sounds faded. No birds, no rustling, just the soft crunch of our shoes on the dirt path. It was so quiet, It almost made your ears ring. I looked around. The trees were close together, their bark dark and gnarled. The forest floor was uneven, covered in roots and moss. There was something heavy in the air, not like fog but like pressure, like the forest was pressing in on us from all sides. "Guys," Lisa said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Does it feel weird to you?" Kenji turned off his GoPro. "Yeah, it's quiet. Like, too quiet." We kept walking slower now. Even though we had agreed not to go far in, it was hard to tell how far we'd gone. Everything looked the same. The path curved and twisted. We passed a small wooden sign, faded and half-broken, pointing to different routes. None of them made sense. After a while, we found a tree with colorful ribbons tied around the trunk. Red, yellow, blue, fluttering gently in the wind. Lisa touched one of them. "Do you think these were left by people who got lost?" Kenji looked at the base of the tree. "Or maybe someone trying to find their way back." I didn't say anything, but I started to feel uneasy, like we were being watched, like the trees had eyes. We decided to take a short break, sat down on a fallen log, drank some water, checked our phones. No signal, of course. Kenji laughed awkwardly. "Well, there goes the live stream." Lisa smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Okay," I said, standing up. "Let's turn back soon." But when we got back on the trail, something was different. I couldn't explain it, but the path didn't feel the same. We tried retracing our steps, but we passed a spot we swore we hadn't seen before. A large rock shaped like a face. None of us remembered it. Kenji pulled out his compass. The needle spun slowly, then stopped, pointing west. Then it twitched again. Lisa checked her map. "We're not where we think we are." She sounded nervous now. Her voice had lost that usual calm. I tried to stay cool. "Let's just follow the trail signs." But the next sign we found was blank. The writing had faded completely. The wind picked up. It wasn't cold, but it carried something with it. Like whispers. Faint. Barely there. I looked back down the trail and suddenly had this awful thought. What if the forest doesn't want us to leave? Kenji seemed to sense it too. He stopped filming altogether. We decided to go back the way we came, carefully marking trees with chalk we found in Lisa's bag. Each tree we passed, we'd leave a little mark. But when we looked back, sometimes the marks weren't there. "Did you skip that one?" Kenji asked. Lisa shook her head. "No, I marked that one. I'm sure." None of us said it out loud, but we all knew something was wrong. Something about this forest wasn't normal. By the time the sun started dipping behind the trees, we still hadn't found the exit. That's when we heard it. A sound, like someone walking, not an animal. Footsteps, crunching the leaves just beyond the trees. We froze. Kenji whispered, "Did you hear that?" I nodded. Lisa's hand gripped my arm. We waited. The sound stopped. Nothing. Silence. And then another step, but this time closer. I turned, heart racing, and saw nothing. Just trees, shadows, stillness. "We need to go," I said, panic rising in my chest. "Now." We started walking fast, not even sure where we were going anymore. We didn't care. We just wanted to move, to get away from whatever it was. But the forest, it felt alive, like it was watching, like it knew we were scared, and it liked it. We didn't stop walking for a long time. None of us said a word. I could hear Lisa breathing hard beside me, and Kenji kept looking over his shoulder every few seconds. The deeper we went, the more the trees seemed to close in. It felt like they were getting thicker, taller, darker, even though I knew that didn't make sense. After a while, the trail just disappeared. It faded into the roots and dirt, like it had never been there at all. I turned around to see if we could at least go back the way we came, but everything looked the same. Same trees, same mossy rocks, same branches twisted into strange shapes. "We're going in circles," Lisa said quietly. Kenji pulled out his phone again and checked the compass app. The needle just spun around, useless. "I think we're lost." That word, lost, hit me like a punch to the stomach. I didn't want to admit it, but I already knew. Lisa sat down on a log and took a deep breath. "Okay, we're not gonna panic. Let's just think. We should have turned back earlier," I said, my voice low. Kenji sighed. "Yeah, this was a dumb idea." Nobody argued with him. It was the first time that day we all agreed on something. We decided to rest for a bit and try to retrace our steps once we had more energy. Lisa offered us some crackers from her bag, but I couldn't eat. My stomach felt too tight. It was the kind of feeling you get right before something bad happens, like your body knows before your brain does. As we sat there, I noticed something strange. There were no insects, no birds, nothing, just the soft rustle of the trees and our own breathing. Even the wind had died down, like the forest was holding its breath. Kenji stood up suddenly. "Did you hear that?" We all froze. There was a sound, very faint but clear, like something tapping on wood. Tap, tap, tap. Then it stopped. Maybe it's just a branch, Lisa said, not sounding convinced. We waited. Nothing happened. So we decided to move again. We didn't want to sit around and wait for the forest to get darker. That's when we saw it. A blue rope, tied around a tree, stretching off into the woods. It looked old, faded, frayed in places like it had been there for years. It went deep into the trees, disappearing around a bend. Kenji walked up to it. Someone left this here. Maybe it's a trail marker. Lisa shook her head. Or maybe it was left by someone who didn't plan to come back. That made us all pause. We knew what she meant. We'd read about it. People sometimes bring ropes to help them find their way out, just in case they change their minds. But sometimes, they never do. Still, Kenji was already walking along it. It's better than nothing. Maybe it leads somewhere. We followed him. Slowly, carefully. The deeper we went, the more things we started to see. Old shoes, torn pieces of clothing, a rusted canteen, someone's scarf tangled in the branches. Lisa stopped in her tracks and pointed. What is that? Up ahead, just off the trail, was a tent. It was red, half collapsed, and looked like it hadn't been touched in years. The fabric was torn and stained, and the edges were covered in moss. We approached slowly. No one said a word. There were things scattered outside the tent. An empty water bottle, a notebook with pages missing, and an old backpack with broken zippers. Everything looked frozen in time. Lisa picked up the notebook and flipped through it carefully. Most of the writing had been smudged by rain, but you could still make out a few words. I'm sorry. Can't go on. Please forgive me. We didn't read any more. Kenji looked pale. Let's keep going. I don't like this. As we started walking again, the forest seemed to grow darker, even though it wasn't that late yet. The trees blocked out almost all the light, and the path was harder to follow now. We were basically relying on the rope. That's when Lisa suddenly stopped and whispered, Wait, did you see that? Kenji and I turned to look. What? I asked. She pointed past the trees. I thought I saw someone, standing there, watching us. Kenji squinted into the distance. I don't see anything. Maybe it was just a shadow, Lisa muttered, though she didn't sound sure. We kept moving. But now, every crack of a twig, every rustle in the leaves made us jump. Eventually, the rope came to an end. It was tied around a tree in a rough knot. Beyond it, there was nothing but more forest. We stopped, unsure of what to do next. And then we heard it again. Footsteps, crunching the leaves. Slow, measured, like someone was walking just behind us, but never close enough to see. We spun around. Nothing. No one. Kenji whispered, We're not alone. I didn't want to believe it, but deep down I knew he was right. Something was out there, watching, waiting, and the worst part? Felt like the forest wanted us there, like it was feeding on our fear, like we had stepped into something way bigger than we could understand. We were no longer just visitors. We were trapped, and Aokigahara wasn't going to let us go easily. We stood there in silence, all three of us facing different directions, trying to see through the thick trees. The footsteps had stopped again, but the feeling they left behind, it didn't go away. It hung in the air, heavy and cold, like fog we couldn't see but could feel in our bones. No more exploring, Lisa said firmly, gripping her flashlight. We find a way out. Now. No one argued. Kenji looked down at the rope that had led us here. Should we follow it back? I wanted to say yes. It made sense. But something about the path we had taken, it didn't feel right anymore. Felt like the forest had changed while we weren't looking. Like the way back wasn't really back anymore. Still, we had no other choice. We turned around and started following the rope again, this time with more urgency. But after a few minutes, Lisa stopped and held up her hand. We all froze. The rope was gone. What the? Kenji started, spinning around. We searched the trees, the ground, everywhere. But the rope had vanished. No sign of it. It was like it had never been there in the first place. This can't be happening, Lisa whispered. I took a step back, trying to stay calm, but my heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear anything else. Maybe we took a wrong turn. Maybe we're just not looking in the right spot. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. We hadn't turned. We had gone straight. The rope was there, and now it wasn't. Then we heard a sound. Not footsteps this time. A voice, very soft, almost like it was riding the wind. I couldn't even tell what it said. It was far away and close at the same time, echoing through the trees. Lisa grabbed my arm tightly. Did you hear that? Kenji nodded, eyes wide. It said something. The voice came again, this time clearer. Why are you here? I felt a chill crawl up my spine. It wasn't like someone yelling. It was more like someone whispering right beside your ear, but you couldn't see them. Kenji slowly pulled out his GoPro. I'm just gonna record this. Just in case. Lisa shook her head. What if that just makes it worse? He didn't respond. He just turned it on and kept walking. We moved fast now, trying not to panic, but it was obvious we were getting more and more lost. Everything looked the same. The trees were like mirrors of each other, clones. Every path, every route, every shadow. Like the forest was copying itself endlessly so no one could find a way out. Then we saw it. The same tent. The red one. We had somehow walked in a full circle, even though we hadn't turned once. Lisa's hand flew to her mouth. No. We left this behind. We left it. Kenji's voice cracked. I swear we didn't go in circles. We didn't. I didn't say anything. Couldn't. My throat felt dry, like something was squeezing it shut. That's when I noticed something different. There was a new item in front of the tent. A stuffed rabbit. Gray with one eye missing. It hadn't been there before. And worse, right next to it were footprints. Bare feet. Small ones. Leading toward the trees. But not away. We were being watched. Followed. Played with. Lisa stepped back, shaking her head. We need to go. I don't care where. Anywhere but here. We turned around and started running. Not jogging. Running. Through the trees, dodging branches, slipping on roots. We didn't even try to follow a path anymore. We just wanted distance. That's when night hit, and the forest got really dark. Our flashlights barely helped. They lit up maybe 5 feet ahead. Everything else was just black, like ink, and the silence was unbearable. You could hear every breath, every heartbeat. We stopped only when Lisa tripped and fell hard. I helped her up. She had a small cut on her palm. Are you okay? She nodded quickly. Just keep going. We took a moment to breathe and shine our lights around. That's when we saw them. White pieces of cloth tied to the trees. Dozens of them. They were old, torn. Some had writing on them, Japanese characters we couldn't understand. Others had nothing, just faded white, fluttering in the windless air. What are these? Kenji asked, walking slowly toward one. Lisa pulled him back. Don't touch it. We stood in the center of what looked like a circle. The cloths surrounded us. It almost felt like we had entered someone's space. Like this was private, sacred, or cursed. Suddenly, Kenji gasped. He pointed past the trees. Did you see that? I looked. A figure. Just for a second. Pale shape. Human-sized. Not moving. Just standing. But as soon as I blinked, it was gone. Lisa whispered, We're going to die here. No, I said quickly. No, we won't. We stick together. We keep moving. Kenji turned off his camera. I'm done filming. This isn't for views anymore. We held hands now, walking slowly. Flashlights pointed in every direction. The forest had changed again. The trees were thicker, closer. The air was colder, and the silence had a sound now. A low, humming tone that never went away. It made your ears feel heavy, like pressure before a storm. Then we found something else. A mirror, just lying on the forest floor. It was cracked, dirty, old. But when I looked into it, I didn't see my reflection. I saw the tent, the red one, behind me. I turned around fast, nothing. But when I looked into the mirror again, it was there, closer. I dropped the mirror and stepped back. Lisa stared at me. What did you see? I don't know, I said. I don't know, but it's following us. That's when we heard the voice again. Louder now. You shouldn't be here. And this time, more than one voice. They whispered together, overlapping, like a crowd. Some crying, some angry, some just lost. We started to run again. Branches grabbed at us like fingers. Roots twisted under our feet. The forest was alive now. It wasn't hiding anymore. It wanted us. And just when I thought we couldn't run anymore, we saw it. A light, far in the distance. Warm, flickering. A cabin? A shrine? We didn't know. But we ran toward it. As we got closer, I realized something terrifying. It wasn't a building. It was a fire. A small one. And someone was sitting next to it. We stopped, frozen. The figure by the fire slowly turned its head. And smiled. Not a friendly smile. A hollow one. Like it had been waiting a very, very long time. I don't know how long I sat there, staring at the camera screen. My fingers trembled as the footage played. Each frame showed what I didn't want to believe. We were never alone. From the moment we stepped into Aokigahara, something was behind us. Sometimes in the distance. Sometimes just a shadow between trees. Sometimes clear as day. That horrible smiling face. Sometimes crouching. Sometimes standing. But always watching. Kenji had filmed it without even realizing. He filmed it when we thought we were joking about the ghost stories. He filmed it when we found the red tent. And the worst part? It was closest when we were most scared. Like it fed off our fear. I fast-forwarded through the footage, hoping, begging, for a sign that Lisa or Kenji had made it out. But all I saw was the moment they disappeared. 1 second we were running together. The next second, just me. No sounds. No flash of light. Just gone. Like the forest had swallowed them whole. Tears ran down my face. I wiped them with the sleeve of my jacket. My body cold and empty. I stood up slowly, the camera still in my hand. I didn't know what to do. My brain kept screaming at me. Get out. Find the way out. Keep moving. But my legs didn't want to move anymore. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Crunching leaves. 1 step, pause. Another step. I turned quickly. No one. Then the laughter returned. Soft. Childlike. But close. Too close. I spun around and saw her. The girl from the shrine. Standing just behind me. Her eyes were back. But they were all white now. Glowing faintly. Her sewn mouth hung slightly open. She pointed behind me. And whispered. This time with a voice I could hear. Follow. I didn't want to. But I did. Because deep inside, I knew. I didn't have any other choice. She led me through a narrow path I hadn't seen before. The trees here leaned in like they were listening. The ground felt softer, like walking over graves. We walked in silence. Until we reached something strange. An old wooden torii gate, mostly collapsed, with rope talismans hanging from it. And beyond it, nothing. Just fog. Endless white mist. The girl turned to me, eyes filled with sorrow. They never left. What? I whispered. She stepped closer. No one leaves unless the forest lets them. My chest tightened. Then, am I going to die here? She stared for a long time. You're not like the others. I blinked. What do you mean? You see the truth now. She reached out and touched my forehead lightly. Suddenly, I saw flashes. Images crashing into my mind like memories that weren't mine. People crying. People lost. People hanging from trees. People whispering apologies into the dark. The forest didn't kill them. They brought their pain here. And the forest kept it. Fed on it. Grew from it. It was never about ghosts. It was about sorrow. Unresolved. Heavy. Eternal. The girl's voice echoed inside me. Tell them. Then, just like that, she was gone. And I was standing at the edge of the forest. Sunlight broke through the trees. I gasped. The air smelled different. Fresh. I turned around. The torii gate was gone. The fog, gone. The forest behind me, quiet. I stumbled out into a trail I hadn't seen before. And within minutes, I was out. I collapsed near the parking area, where a small group of hikers saw me and rushed over. I wanted to scream, to tell them not to go in, to warn everyone. But all I could do was cry. Later, in the hotel, I uploaded the footage from the GoPro. It didn't work. Every file was corrupted, except one. It was a video of me, sleeping, in the forest, and next to me, the smiling figure, just sitting there, watching me, still smiling, like it was proud. I did make it out, but sometimes, I wake up in the middle of the night, and I see trees outside my window, even though I live in the city. Sometimes, I hear whispers in my hallway, and sometimes, I still see that red tent, in my dreams, waiting, because maybe, I never left. Not completely, and maybe Aokigahara never really lets go.